Hi, Naomi. Thanks for joining me today. So nice to have you here.
Thank you, Shannon. It's good to be here.
So I just wanted to have a little chat to you about your journey, what's been happening for you, how long ago you were introduced to Creatrix. I mean, just, like how your life has changed since it's having the experience with Creatrix. So when did you first hear about it?
Yeah, so I did the course at the beginning of 2019. I think I'd heard about it not long before that. I was looking for something very specific at the time. I had decided I no longer wanted to work so much in my husband's business and I wanted to do something for me. And I felt like I always wanted to help people. But at the same time, I was really angry, a really angry mum. And as good as my intentions were, every morning I'd often find myself losing it, before the kids were at school. And it just felt so incongruent because I felt I was meant for more. I felt I was capable of more, yet somehow almost every day I'd be in this really negative cycle, and then I'd beat myself up all day for it and kind of think, well, how could you ever help anyone else when you're still like this? So I think at the time I was really into some of Joe Dispenza's work and just the whole Hay House world, and just, really into the information around how our beliefs shape our reality. And I knew that I had beliefs that weren't serving me, and I knew I had a lot of emotion that I couldn't control. And so I was looking for a modality that would help me to really change my beliefs. So not just, and I didn't want to be reframing and consciously working through stuff. I actually wanted something that would really help me to shift those emotions and shift those beliefs. And then when I was looking, I found that most things were created by men or more suited to men. And I was a mum, and I don't know, are you a mum, Shannon? I'm not
No,
sure.
no, nah.
No, so I was a mum. So when I was in this personal development world and looking for stuff to help me, so much of it was from men. And I kind of thought to myself, what the hell do you know? Like, you don't have the responsibility of children that are kind of at you all the time, which is full on. Like, they're when you have kids, like, they take up so much of your energy. There's so much that is unpredictable about your day. So like I said, I could have the best intentions, but things, would be out of my control. And then that's where I'd find myself kind of losing it. And so I was kind of looking at these men thinking, you guys have no idea. How would you know how to help me when you're not in this experience? You get to have your little career and go live your life while your wife's probably at home taking care of everything. Like, I just thought it was not, I just didn't understand how they would be able to understand me enough to help me. And so then I started looking for something that was more female focused. And my sister's friend had done Creatrix. So my sister told me about Creatrix. I looked it up and I went, this is it. So I pretty much signed up for the course, within a month from then. And then I did the course in February of 2019. And to be honest, I have never felt more good about myself. And life has just changed so much from there. Like, I guess it's been nearly 5 years or something since then. And so much has changed. My anger towards my children instantly changed. That was a cycle that changed straight away. So no more massive angry outbursts all the time. I was so much more calm. My mind used to be really constant and negative. So my thoughts would always be racing and negative about myself. And I'd get into pretty big spirals of negativity towards myself, and that stopped. I don't have that anymore. So I do still have a busy mind, but it's not negative.
Can you even remember any of the negative stuff that used to go on there?
Yeah, I really hated myself. I felt ashamed. I felt, why can't I just get my shit together? Why can't I just control my emotions? Why am I such a bad mum? Why am I such a bad person? These kids would be better off without me. You know, I should be doing better than this, you know, and the shame, the just that belief, I guess, that I was just such a bad person. And it just, yeah, it would just kind of feel really pretty full on and bad. And that I guess I was constantly berating myself, putting myself down. You know, you probably would have heard of the inner critic, or that voice that's always in your head, you know, often reflects the voice of whoever was around us when we were growing up. And, you know, those voices were often very negative and telling me I should be doing better and I should be doing more. And yeah, so yeah, and a big one was not feeling good enough. You know, I'm never going to be good enough. And yeah, it was just really constant. And, you know, I remember very clearly feeling defeated by 10 a.m. every day. You know, I'd get up, I'd do my meditation. I would, you know, start getting the kids ready for school and doing all of that. And then I'd find I would lose it. And then I'd get them dropped off to school. And then for the first time, you know, since my meditation, I'd feel like, oh, I can breathe. But then it would be like, that was so horrible what you did, or that was so horrible what you said, and how could you do that, and you're such a bad mother, and you should be ashamed of yourself, they deserve so much better, you know. You're messing your kids up, like it's not good for them to see this, it's not good for, I'd feel guilty, as because my daughter used to cop the worst of it. And yeah, and that's, yeah, by 10 a.m. I'd feel totally defeated, and whatever good intentions I did have for myself for the day would be gone. Be like, what's the point? What's the point? Who am I to try and do anything good? Because, you know, my life's a disaster.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So now on the other side of that, how's life?
Yeah, well, I don't feel any of that anymore. Like I said, the angry outbursts stopped. Life certainly had its challenges since then. You know, my daughter's 20 now. She's had a lot of challenges of her own. We've had a lot of challenges within the dynamics of our family. And in saying that, though, the way I've been able to handle that since, actually something I'd love to share, I especially about my daughter, I struggled a lot with her. I had a lot of very negative feelings toward her. I used to feel like she would get up every morning and think to herself, how can I piss mum off today? What can I do to really press her buttons, you know? And I guess I harbored a lot of resentment and bitterness towards her. You know, I'd see her and think, oh, you know, like it was really horrible. And you know, hard to admit that that's how I felt. But over the years, because of challenges she had that I didn't understand at the time, you know, she wore me down. And that wasn't her fault, because she's still the same. And because I understand her better now, that as well as having dealt with my own stuff, the same thing doesn't happen. So what was really horrible, though, is how I felt about her. And once I kind of addressed that stuff through Creatrix, I was actually able to see her. And this was before I understood, you know, the more complicated issues that she has. But I was able to look at her and actually truly see her for the first time, to really see that she's just this beautiful, innocent little child who had really actually been through so much in her life. You know, she'd been through a lot of change. She'd already suffered loss numerous times at a young age. You know, I could see how things must have been so hard for her and so difficult for her, and that she was really only wanting my time, my approval, my love, my, to be seen, heard, valued, and all of those things. And because I was so caught up in my shit before that, if it were ever brought to my attention that maybe I could be better with her, I would be instantly defensive and I would blame her. I would say, but she's impossible. She's this, she's that. And after dealing with my issues about how I felt towards her, I could see that it wasn't her, that she wasn't the problem. And that's a really amazing thing with Creatrix, because we can really address and resolve our self-judgment and our self-criticism, our not enoughness, our unworthiness, and all those, defensive layers that would come up if someone were to say, hey, you could be doing a better job as a mum. As I'm sure most women can imagine, your defenses are instantly up. But I'm doing the best I can. I've given them everything. They're the one that's difficult. I don't understand why they're this way. Like, we would just totally deflect. But when you heal that, you can then see, oh, yeah, this is a beautiful little innocent human that really just needs me to be there for them and needs my love and acceptance, understanding, time, patience. And yeah, you know what? I actually could have done better, and now I can try to do better. So it was a massive shift for me, especially in my relationship with my daughter. And I can honestly say, like I said, she's 20 now. We've been able to do a lot of healing in our relationship, and there's still more to do. But I couldn't have done that without Creatrix. We would have been completely, maybe, like quite possibly alienated from each other, because she would have come to me with things and I would have totally invalidated her experience and her feelings and everything. And I just can't imagine our relationship having improved, because I would have still constantly been putting it back on her and blaming. When all she has actually really needed is for me to validate her experience through her life.
And how beautiful to be able to do that and see that now.
It's probably one of the best things that's come from Creatrix for me. There's been many, many things. Like, I've been able to do things I never thought I would do. I feel really good in myself. Even when I went through a period of burnout, I did not get depressed, and depression was very much in my history. Being able to sit with difficult feelings in my body as they arise, I would never have been able to do that before, because it was too painful. I couldn't be with myself before, because there was too much up here, too much in here. I'm like, nah, dissociate, get out of here. Just anything to not be with myself before, because I couldn't stand being with myself.
What were some of the things that you would use to not be with yourself?
I used alcohol quite a lot. I started smoking cigarettes when I was 12 years old. And when I stopped smoking cigarettes as an adult, I started drinking, of an evening, just to wind down. But that very quickly became something that I found very helpful in managing stress. So they were the main things, I guess.
I just thought it would be nice for people to hear, because a lot of people don't realize that this is what they're doing when they're doing it either. So I just thought I would query you on that, just to see what it was for you. For me personally, it was the same. Alcohol was huge, drugs. I'll even use social media now sometimes if if I'm feeling a little bit of discomfort. Shopping, some people use shopping. There's so many things. Gambling's a huge one. Huge one. Yeah, so it's just really I haven't talked about this on any of the interviews before. So yeah, when you said that, I was like, oh, here's a good opening to just get some more information out there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very common, for women to cope in today's world with everything that is expected of us.
Mm.
It's very common to use that as a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's good to not have to rely on that so heavily. In fact, for the past 5 years, I would say I have spent the majority of that not drinking. And if I have, it's usually been for some type of social occasion, very occasionally it's been because something might have been really, really stressful.
Yep.
But it's not become a daily kind of habit again for me. And I feel that's because there's no shame around it. There's not the guilt or anything like that. It is just, it's just a thing.
Yeah.
But in saying that, because I did use it for so long, that addiction pathway is well formed.
Yeah.
So it's easy to get back into a habit because of that physical aspect of things. And because that pathway was so well worn.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is uncomfortable. This is how I cope.
Yeah.
So there's definitely been further work around that to bring in other forms of self-regulation.
Yep.
And making sure, things like self-care take priority, noticing when I need some time out or space for myself. Really useful tool that I've found on a Friday afternoon, evening, is to have a nice hot bath for an hour and put some nice music into my ears. And then that's my de-stress. But it can be hard to kind of, what's the word? I can't think of the word, but it can be hard to transition from the busy week to, okay, it's time to relax. And I have found, the nice warm bath super helpful. Obviously, regular breathing exercises, meditation is helpful. Exercise, like there's lots of other ways in which we can self-regulate, but it has been quite a journey to find what those things are and to not use alcohol as the self-regulation, because it's essentially I was self-medicating.
Yeah.
Because antidepressants weren't really something that worked for me when I tried them when I was young, and they didn't feel like an option for me. Alcohol is a very socially acceptable thing to do for mothers that are, the mummy wine culture is very big. There's lots of validation if you scroll through social media as to how normal that is. So there's also a lot of social conditioning that you have to undo around alcohol as well. And if you don't drink, you almost have to explain why you're not drinking. So it's the only drug which you have to justify not taking part in. Like it's a really big thing. So, because it was a very regular part of my life for quite for a sustained period of time, there's definitely been stuff I've had to do to undo that conditioning around that, and also to make it an undesirable thing. So to make it a better option to not have it than to have it, and it is so much a far better option for me, for my health and many other reasons, to choose other ways to regulate.
Absolutely. And I was on a similar journey with the alcohol, and it takes quite some time to get comfortable with the new version of you that's not relying on that.
It's big. It's big work. Because we do have to learn other ways to regulate ourselves, because often it is a coping mechanism because we literally don't know what else to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that is marketed to us through media and social experiences as the thing to do, and it's normal and it's fine, and and it is as a social thing that you do sometimes, totally. But it shouldn't be how we cope with having too much on our plate, and not being able to set boundaries and say no, and and put ourselves first, because that's essentially, again, why so many women do it is because our to-do list, our lives are so full, and it's this whole other category of expectation around what we as women are supposed to be able to do and be for everyone else. And that's a social construct that does not support us, but everyone has bought into it. And so when we feel like we're struggling or we can't keep up, we feel like it's a problem with us. And it's not. It's a problem with society. It's a problem with how women are viewed, and both men and women buy into this idea and this construct, and there's a lot of deconditioning we need to do, and changing of beliefs to be able to say, hang on a second, this isn't right, this is too much, I need help, I need support, I shouldn't have to do this, and this. Like, why is it our job to look after everyone else? Why is that the assumption? Why is it the assumption that men can't help and do it with us? It's such a big topic.
Huge.
But that essentially, is why so many women are struggling. And I truly believe that if every woman was able to have Creatrix and do, what we're doing with the self-esteem resets now, and the emotional regulation resets, I feel that if women did those, they would be able to set boundaries for themselves in a whole new way. They would be able to decide what they want, what they are willing to do, how much they are willing to give, and they'd be able to ask for the help and the support that they need, and really help to balance what at the moment is a very unbalanced system of what we're expected to do. And I think, once you've had Creatrix and a self-esteem reset, an emotional regulation reset, your ability to be able to ask for those things without feeling guilty or less than, or like you should be doing better, that it would just be so much easier for women to ask for what they want and have their needs met. And women are so afraid of having needs and asking for those needs to be met. Like, it's almost a debilitating fear that comes over them at the thought of admitting they have needs and asking for those needs to be met. And I think with Creatrix, that really shifts everything so that those conversations are easier.
Yes. Oh, so good talking to you about all of that. I feel like we could talk forever. Such a big topic. So if you had some words to say to ladies that are considering doing Creatrix, what would you say to them?
Yeah, do it. It's the best thing you will ever do. It is the best investment you will ever make put into yourself. It's the best thing you will ever do for your children. And if you can do it before having children, even better. But if you can't, like I hadn't, you can still do it and then have that opportunity to heal your relationships and to be, that parent you can be. Because I'm sure we all aspire to be better than we are. even when we have healthy self-esteem, you know, we want to do the best that we can. Yeah, do it. If you won't do it for you, do it for your kids, because they need you to be at your best, and they need you to be able to be present with them, and they need you to be able to be present with them and all their emotions. And that's the greatest gift you can give to them, because if you can't be present with them because all your stuff comes up about whether or not you're a good parent, and the guilt and the shame and the not enoughness, that'll block you from being there properly for them. So yeah, if you can just be present with them without all your stuff getting in the way, that's going to create better relationships with your kids. That's going to create healthier, more emotionally balanced kids who have had their needs met, which is in the end going to create a better world. And that's what we need. Like, if we could heal every woman through Creatrix, among other things that help us, but especially through Creatrix, because I honestly believe it's the only thing out there that delivers the level of healing that I've experienced. Yeah, if you can do that, it also makes it so much easier for you to take on board other information and other coaching. So then your results from doing other things are going to be totally amplified. Because when we were talking before this, Shannon, you were saying it helps you to get out of your own way, right?
Mm.
And I've also seen clients of mine go on to do other coaching, and it all goes in, they can apply it. Whereas if you've still got, you know, all the stuff going on, you can do all the coaching programs, but a lot of the information won't go in, or you won't be able to implement it, because the cycles, the emotional cycles, and the cycles of the negative thinking will inevitably take over, no matter how hard you try to implement things. Whereas when we address that with the self-esteem reset and the emotional regulation reset, it then frees you up to be able to take on board other information and implement it in your life. And then you can become a true embodiment of the woman that you want to be, instead of just feeling like you're trying all these things, but still somehow failing. Like, yeah, it's just, like I said, the best investment you could make into yourself on every level: relationships, career, health. Like, yeah, it's amazing. So do it.
Yes, do it. Awesome. Thanks so much, Naomi. It was really nice to connect with you, and so lovely to hear your story of when you connected more with you. That just opened up the connection with your daughter. So beautiful to hear that. And what a beautiful gift to give you both.
Yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I'll speak to you soon.
All right, thanks, Shannon.
Bye.